Welcome into Section 65, the official SEC podcast of Garage Guys Fantasy Sports. I'm your host, Clay Keaton, alongside my partner and good friend, Tanner Colson. Tanner, it's week 7 of the SEC. We've got a big show ahead as Eli Wolf, the current Baltimore Raven, former Georgia Bulldog and Tennessee Volunteer, joins us to just kind of shoot the shit, talk about, tell some stories, talk about his life now being in the NFL. We'll ask him some questions about Georgia. We'll ask him some questions about Tennessee, and it's going to be a great interview. So I'm looking forward to it, Tanner.
Yeah, we've also got a nice little game 6 recaps, and we're going to get into the slate this weekend. We got our usual bets, and we'll have Jack Jones in again next week.
Oh yeah. Jack's still on a little hiatus, getting a little bit busy for Jack in Vegas the last couple of weeks, but he will be officially joining back next week, coming in hot with his picks. So we'll have him back next week for all those who are concerned. Tanner, let's jump right into the recaps before Eli joins us. Why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right. So some big games last weekend. How refreshing was it, by the way, that we didn't have to watch Tennessee or South Carolina play?
Well, yeah, the bye week was so nice. Just a nice Halloween weekend to relax, hang out, drink some beers, do nothing, watch Vanderbilt lose. Nothing better.
Yeah, it was so nice, just especially on Halloween weekend too. All I had to think about was Halloween. That was refreshing. And I also had to think about the games I had money on, but that's all right. So, so this week I didn't get as much time to watch the games, obviously, due to Halloween coming on the same day. But let's hop right in. We got Arkansas versus Texas A&M. A&M won. Arkansas covered late.
I actually watched that game. That game was that was a great game. And I'm a little bit concerned about Tennessee this week, but – they are favored, but Arkansas has definitely proven a lot of people wrong. They've proven me wrong.
Risky.
And, Texas A&M, Arkansas with that backdoor cover, so nice by them.
5-0 on the year, by the way.
Yeah, and hey, Kellen Mond, the second half of the season, let's go ahead and give credit where credit's due. Started out kind of slow, but another good game for him, 21 for 26, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, just a really good all-around game for Kellen Mond, 2 straight weeks of him playing well. And then Arkansas, Rakeem Boyd, I'm a little bit concerned about Tennessee's ability to stop the running game because Rakeem Boyd is a good running back, 100 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. Tennessee's D-line's pretty weak, so we'll see how Rakeem Boyd plays on Saturday.
Yeah, next game on the slate we've got, if anyone wanted to take a nap, this was probably a great one to do that for. Georgia beat Kentucky 14-3.
Such a boring game.
Absolute rock fight. Big for people that bet unders. That can never be me. Mm-hmm. But I took Georgia. I thought they would cover. I still think it was the right bet. I stand by that. But that was just lame. That was boring. It was not uninspired football really by both squads. In kind of a defensive battle. I definitely expected a little more out of Georgia. Maybe this is just Kentucky kind of. Coming back swinging a little bit. Obviously, they didn't put up a ton of points or anything, but I figured they'd get blown out. They've been a tough team to read all season. I don't know what's going on in Lexington, but they're pretty inconsistent.
Let's talk about Mike Leach's offense, Tanner. 41-0, Crimson Tide.
Yeah, Mike Leach at Mississippi State. I've never felt more wrong about a take than I did after week 1. That was his knee jerk gets. I know that it doesn't work this way in college, but if it did, I think Mike Leach would have potential to be a one and done. Obviously, no one's going to want to pay his buyout, but whatever that hot garbage he's been putting out on the field is for the last couple weeks, it's like he brought the air raid offense and it's not working. And then he also brought the air raid defense, so they can't stop anybody. But, no Jalen Waddle for Alabama, no problem. Devontae Smith had 203 yards and 4 touchdowns to be the new Alabama all-time receiving leader.
Oh, and it was only on 11 receptions, too. That's pretty unbelievable.
He's they're a factory. I think Nick Saban might have been onto something last week when he talked about how good defense doesn't beat good offense anymore, because they are just stacking the offensive side of that ball. And I think they had their first defensive touchdown of the season, which is very un-Alabama-like. Usually their defense is right up there with their offense as far as scoring goes, but that is just not the case these last few years. They're just, that guy Mitchie, by the way, their other receiver they got coming up, I mean, they got everything. Fun fact, by the way, if you want to know just how bad Mike Leach has been the last few weeks, Mississippi State in week 1 against LSU put up 44 points. We all remember that. We were talking about KJ Costello in the Heisman conversation way too early. And since week 1, they've played, I think, 4 more games. They've only scored 30 points. So they scored 44 points in week 1, and they've scored 30 points in, I think, 4 games since that, if that tells you just how futile their efforts have been.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they are, things are not good in Cowbell Nation. We'll have to get Randy the Plumber's take on it at some point. But
hey,
yeah,
Bo Nix, Auburn, LSU. Let's talk about it. Bo Nix kind of making Jack look a little silly, at least last week. 18 for 24, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
An absolute shellacking of LSU. LSU has fallen off.
Yeah, it was the battle of the troubled Tigers, and I really expected a little more fight out of Coach O's team. They looked like they might have been onto something a little bit after last week, but I mean, they just looked terrible. They looked lost. How do you score 11 points? That's just such an abnormal amount of points to score. Yeah, LSU, I don't know what they do kind of from here. Maybe they can reload a little bit, if they find another guy at quarterback, but I just think with all their losses this last season,
I don't know how many times we're going to say that we called it, but we're not close to the end.
No, I mean, I'll probably say it every single week for the rest of the year, just about, barring the South Carolina game. But yeah, they're just finding new lows at this point. They don't look very good, and Auburn has hardly looked great this year. So that was surprising to say the least. Bo looked like he knew, and if your defense makes Bo look like he knows, you got defensive problems, buddy.
Yeah, very interesting game.
Moving over into one of the most predictable games of the weekend.
You're about to talk about Vanderbilt, aren't you?
Yep. Ole Miss blew the doors off of Vandy. Good call. 54-21. Another one of my big bets last week. Vandy just doesn't have the horses, man. They just –
No, it's like comical. There's high school teams in California and Texas that could beat this Vandy team.
Yeah, I would feel – I feel bad for the players because a lot of those guys, it was probably their only real offer they got, but – I wouldn't. If my son has only one offer to go play college football and it's Vanderbilt, I'm going to tell him to go to a business school or something.
Yeah, go to UT and just go to the school business because you're not going to be a loser. Last game, Florida, Missouri, the third and final cover to improve me to 3-0 last week.
Big week.
Gators, Kiffin, and Saban, thank you for getting me back on track. Tanner, you said what? We're both 9-9.
Yeah, we're both 9-9 for the year after this last weekend. By the way, it was the only weekend we've had all season where we both had winning records. We haven't both had a winning record. You pulled out our first 3-0 weekend of the year. So hopefully it's a sign of more things to come for us. We're both kind of fighting at that 9-9, but I think this is where things really take off. We got a nice feel for where everything's at. On that note, you want to get into our picks for this week?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in.
It's another week. It seems like this is every week now where we've only got 4 games to pick from.
4-game slate.
Thanks a lot, COVID. But we got Florida at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 3.5 in that one. Vanderbilt is a 19-point dog at Mississippi State. Tennessee's a 2-point favorite at Arkansas. And A&M is a 10-point favorite at South Carolina. Clay, what do you like this week?
I'm going to take Texas A&M against South Carolina. What's that line? 6?
10.
Oh, wow. Are you sure?
I checked Bovada right before I hopped on, so it should be.
All right, yeah, I'll ride with it. Aggies, Kellen Mond, we'll go with it. Spiller, the running back. Sure, we'll go with it. Aggies looking okay offensively. I'll take Aggies to cover against the Cox. Cox have been down, and the Aggies have the Cox number, as you've informed me, the last however many years that they've had it.
It's not last however many years. It's all time. I don't think South Carolina has ever beaten Texas A&M in a football game.
Okay, well, perfect. I'll take the Aggies there. Gig 'em. And Tennessee -2. Lock it in. Tennessee is going to win by more than 2, more than 3, more than 4, and more than 5. It's a must-win game for Tennessee. Really will be a really bad loss, and I just don't think that Pruitt is going to let that happen. I'm actually pretty sick of Pruitt and pretty down on Pruitt right now, but this is a must-win game, and he's proven that, in those situations, maybe we can win, and we're supposed to win. We're favored on the road. We're supposed to win. Let's just win, be normal, and not be weird about it. So I'll take Tennessee -2. That's all I got, though. I mean, we only got 4 games.
All right, so you took A&M and Tennessee. That's it. You should have one more.
Okay. I mean, we only got 4 games? I mean, all right.
The money, man. What we can't have different numbers at the end of the year.
What's the Georgia-Florida line?
It's Florida's a 3.5-point dog at Georgia.
All right, give me Florida plus.
Florida plus 3.5. I like that bet. That's what we need. We need someone, because I was not going to pick for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That I just don't know really what to expect there. So for my picks, I took A&M -10. Like I said before, I think South Carolina has literally never beaten Texas A&M in a football game. Certainly not since they became cross-division rivals in the SEC. Trust me, I've been there the entire time pretty much. It never works out. I'm going to take Arkansas, bud. They're 2-point dogs at home against Tennessee, 5-0 against the spread. I'm gonna bet on them. I'm gonna hope to make it 6-0. We'll have a nice little rivalry on that one. And then I'm doing something. I'm feeling a little crazy this week, bud. I'm taking Vanderbilt plus 19 at Mississippi State.
You're an idiot.
Dude, I mean, you think that a team that scored 30 points in 4 weeks is gonna cover a 19-point spread? I just can't do it.
Against high school Vandy, yeah, I do.
I mean, it's one of those bets that I'm sure I'll regret, but so far this year when I bet against Mike Leach, it's kind of paid off for me. So I think I'm just going to keep on that train. And, that's what I'm locking in. I got Vanderbilt plus 19, Arkansas plus 2, A&M -10. I feel pretty good about that this week. Again, we only have 4 games to pick from, so, kind of a tough spread, but I sense a winning record coming starting next week.
I like it.
All right, Clay. And some news around college football as a whole. The MAC's back, baby.
MACtion.
I mean, Tuesday night, Wednesday night football, you cannot beat it. I love it. Something to do in the middle of the week.
Yep, went 0-2 last night.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best start to the year. My UB Bulls pulled out an absolutely dominant win over Northern Illinois. I mean, it's like a gift that just never stops giving, really. Last night, Akron started the game. First kickoff, I think, of the MAC season with an onside kick. You never find that in the SEC. No one else is doing these things. We had a power outage. I mean, it's just a content factory. We could almost make our own podcast just for the MAC, for like all the funny shit that goes down over there. I love the MAC. I can't wait for next Tuesday and Wednesday. That should be fun. And in some other news, we got Trevor Lawrence has COVID. I'm sure everyone already knows that. But he's also, not only did he miss last week against Boston College, almost lost that one, but he's out for Notre Dame this week also. I'm sure a lot of people probably are taking Notre Dame in that, but I have a feeling that they will be just fine with their number 1 overall recruit from last season, DJ however you pronounce it, Uiagalelei. But, that's some big news around college football.
Thanks for that, Tanner. Tanner with the news. Yeah. Tanner, let's get ready to bring Eli in. Eli Wolf joining us here in the next few seconds as current Baltimore Raven, former Georgia Bulldog, and Tennessee Volunteer Eli Wolf joins us. So, Tanner, I guess we can go ahead and jump right on into that.
Yeah, fun conversation with Eli coming right up.
All right, joining us now, my buddy and current Raven, Eli Wolf, former Georgia Bulldog and Tennessee Volunteer. Eli, how's it going in Baltimore?
Hey, Clay, I'm doing well. Baltimore as well. The weather's still warm here. Hasn't dropped below freezing yet. So
How
that's
is
been
the
nice.
weather up there? How? I mean, I've been there once. Went to an Orioles game. It was pretty lame, honestly.
I'll be honest. Before I got here, I thought it was like way more of a northern state and city than what it really is. It's more southern than I would have thought. It's kind of like that same climate level of like Ohio, kind of where I grew up. So it really is kind of just like exactly where I grew up.
Yeah, I think people always like to say that like the Mason-Dixon line is like at Maryland apparently, like realistically or
Yeah.
something. Like apparently
Yeah.
Maryland was the South until like 50 years ago. Like that's like a new development.
Yeah, people were telling me that, and it just blew me away. I was like, God, I always like pictured it up there as like, New York, Jersey, like Baltimore. Like I just put it up there.
Yeah, it's a northeastern town.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's just jump right in, Tanner. Let's give him maybe not quite 20 questions, but some questions. Keeler submitted some questions for old Eli, so we'll get to some of Keeler's cues, and that'll be funny. Eli and I were wee little walk-ons at Tennessee in 2015, and Eli was one of the guys that told me how fucked I was my first day, and I told him that I'd be fine.
Now look where you both are now.
I was very wrong. That's pretty cold, Tanner. But yeah, no, that was. I mean, Eli, seriously, 2015. Regardless of you ended up going to Georgia. 2015, that year we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Freshman year of college, that's a hard year to not have fun.
Oh, yeah, it was. I remember the Outback Bowl. Rodre was. Thomas Rodre.
Since we were just
that would be a good guy to have on.
Yeah, that'd be a great guy to have on. Actually, he could tell you stories on stories of that year. Since we were just talking about it though, your first day,
yeah,
workouts. I remember this like it was yesterday. The warm up. The warm up is, get some calisthenics stretches in, and then let's just go jog around that stone pillar, after some butt kicks or whatever. The majority of the group was in the weight room, and I look back and Keaton's just drenched in sweat, trailing 50 yards behind everybody else. And I thought it was the warm up on the very first day.
Dude, it was bad. I did not know. I remember coming over to y'all's place because y'all were over there before I got there because y'all were there for that first summer session. I didn't come till the second. And so you guys I remember being over there and hanging out. And, I've been doing, my little bullshit workouts at my high school, just shit bagging it. And you guys were telling me how hard it was. And I was like, I feel like I'll be fine.
Yeah. No.
Wrong. I don't know. That was. I mean, my first day was fifths too. I'm pretty sure Brett and Thomas really hammered me when they came on.
Yeah,
that was not good.
Probably
terrible.
So Eli, what was it like? So you joined Tennessee in 2015, Clay's year. What was it like, kind of going from
Clay's year?
Tennessee,
thank you for that.
Yeah, Tennessee was kind of. They haven't exactly been at that level of success that they're kind of grown accustomed to in the last couple of decades. And then transferring from that to Georgia, and you just played at Georgia for the 1 year last year, right?
Yeah.
So what was it kind of like as far as a culture change goes, kind of going from a team that's kind of was trying to find itself still to a team that was a contender?
Probably really just two things. One was the depth. I think the team had, just, you go there and you look at the O-line and then the backup O-line, it's like, wow, a lot of guys can go down and they really won't skip a beat here. And then the same thing, for defensive line, linebackers, and having that depth gets you pretty confident, but also creates a lot of competition at practice and pushes you to be better because that person's always, right at your heels. And then the other thing I think is just confidence going into the game. When I was at Georgia, there was something about the way we, the team walked in and we just, it was like, yeah, we're supposed to win this game. We're going to win this game. Where at my time at Tennessee I felt like the majority of the time we were underdogs, which I personally liked. But I also felt like, man, we're not supposed to win this game. So if things start going against us, that's just what's supposed to happen. I think that's more powerful than people think.
So how visible was the gap? Because the Tennessee team that you left was pretty terrible, right?
I mean,
Was it that Brady Hoke year, or was it you didn't play for Pruitt?
I played 1 year for Coach Pruitt.
Oh,
yeah. So talent in different positions.
So was it that year we beat Auburn at Auburn? Yeah.
Yeah, that year. The offensive line, I noticed, like, they were just bigger. I'm not saying they're more athletic, but they just were bigger guys. The average weight of the Georgia offensive line that I played with was like 320 pounds, like big guys. So that was one of the most noticeable differences between player, I guess.
Well, I mean, realistically, you went from that 5-7, 4-8 team, whatever that team was, to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, but I think that there's a talent at Tennessee to win, and it's just a lot of pieces got to come together to win. It's hard to win in the SEC.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I mean, this was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a talent gap, sure, but it's not as large as what people think it is.
What was it like in Atlanta? I mean, what was Atlanta like? I mean, was it sick? I mean, I haven't been since 2007.
It was surreal. The whole game.
You guys got whipped up and down, though.
Yeah. I mean, LSU. You can't say enough good things about that team. I mean, they were just unbelievable. But I mean, we didn't play a very good game, and that sucks because it kind of takes a little bit from the memory, but it doesn't, because, dude, out of every game I've played, that one just felt like the most surreal. Like the whole game, it just kind of felt like a dream the whole time. So that was a cool experience. It sucks it turned out the way it did, but it's a memory that's gonna last. So
definitely probably better to make it to Georgia or to Atlanta once than probably to have never made it. I mean, I'd imagine that's a pretty, how many people really get to do that even in their lifetime? So
not many.
No doubt.
Yeah, and you ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, I don't think anyone was going to stop LSU.
That just wasn't fair. That LSU team was just. Did you notice a gap in that team and y'all's team? I mean, because y'all were good.
We had talent, and I mean, a lot of reasons why we didn't win that game. There's a ton. And do I think they were more talented than us? They had I don't know how many first round draft picks they had, 7, something like that, 6, 7, maybe more than that. Crazy number. So by that definition, yeah, sure, they were probably a little bit more talented, but I don't think that's why we lost. I don't think it's because the talent gap was too big.
Yeah, they had a level of confidence with Joey B back there that I don't know if I've ever quite seen before. Like I think I called it last year around week 4. I was like, I don't think anything's gonna stop these guys. Yeah,
they were they're playing their best ball when they needed to, and it showed. It showed on everybody they played.
So you were talking about earlier how you really like that underdog mentality, and that's because you started off as a walk-on at Tennessee, right, with Clay? And
yeah.
So did you get a scholarship at Tennessee and then transfer to Georgia, like with the scholarship, or did you get the scholarship once you got to Georgia?
So I started in 2015. I'm trying to remember the exact summer. So it wasn't that summer, but the next spring, that Coach Jones put me on scholarship.
What was that like?
It was crazy. So we were just out of spring practice. You don't have any games, anything for a while, so you're hitting pretty hard every day. We're full pad practice, and we did a thing called Circle of Life. Most people probably heard of it. You just team circles up, 2 people go in the middle, bam, try and drive each other off the ball, knock one back. So the big thing was they would always put me and my brother against each other, because my brother was a tight end, a year older than me at Tennessee as well.
He's in the league too, right?
Yeah, he's with the Saints right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's that was the thing is, Coach Jones would say, get the Wolf brothers out here, and we would go. And this particular day, you start typically, a couple feet apart from each other. They started us like 10 feet apart. Like we were going to get some speed before we hit. And I was like, this isn't looking good, but I'm going to fire off. I'm just going to fire off,
each other from 30 feet.
Just see who's who's going to take it. And so lined us up right when he was about to blow the whistle, he blew it dead. And he said, hey, I'd like to award you a scholarship. And team went crazy. It was an awesome moment, like something that I'm never going to forget. And I remember calling my parents afterwards, and they had already heard through like Twitter or something, but they acted like they hadn't, so they were all excited. And I was like, yeah, it was awesome. So
Was there like a video of that or anything? Was that one of those like kind of
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was one of those blockbuster moments, wasn't it?
It was. I think a couple of like social media accounts sent it out, and I think I saw some.
I'm pretty sure like Sports Center and like.
Well, those are some of the best videos out there, though. I always love
they really are.
the walk-ons get their scholarships. That's always cool. Did he still make you guys line up and hit each other after?
No, but we did in the spring game in that year in front of the whole crowd in the spring game. So that was good. But no, he didn't make us that day.
So what was it like, kind of like being in a locker room with your older brother? Was he also a walk-on? Like, did you guys kind of follow a pretty similar path, or was he a little more like?
He was the opposite, I would say. He had, most Big Ten, most SEC offers by the time he was a junior in high school. 4-star tight end, pretty big name coming into Tennessee. Started as a freshman, played all 4 years. Like, very different path than when I took the walk-on path, and then wait until your redshirt junior year to play. And so he was kind of the opposite of what me and Clay started as.
Well, hey, you both kind of ended up in the same place, so I mean that's a testament to how hard you've been working, man.
Yeah, but Eli's not getting. I mean, Eli's a dog. Those circle of life drills. I remember this freshman year. Like I never got in that, but like Eli would jump in there and do that shit. And that ain't.
I didn't jump in. It was more like.
Well, they would call your ass out. They would call your ass out, I guess.
Every time they would just like the guy I was going against would just get a little bit bigger, and I'm like.
I mean, I'm not going to say any names, but I remember one practice where you really just sent somebody. But do you remember when court? I mean, you just hammered. I mean,
yeah,
it was. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
I was trying to fight after that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Wow. I remember sitting there thinking, "Holy shit, that was fucking insane." But
yeah, and then the next person I go against is Jakob. Like,
yeah, Jakob. Jakob's that fullback for the Patriots, Tanner.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I wasn't going to win that one.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a guy you want to meet in the hole.
Nope.
He was huge.
Massive. Still is, dude. He's ginormous.
I was going to ask one of the Keeler cues. What's it like? Okay, you know how in college, like the coaches are so on your ass. Is it the same way in the league, or is it more lax?
It's definitely more lax.
Because, I mean, it's more like a workplace.
Well, I'd imagine it's got something to do, too, with you're a little more kind of expendable, I would say. Not to use that word lightly, but I just mean in college, once they kind of give you a scholarship, you're kind of there. Whereas in the NFL, you're not giving it what you need. I'd imagine it's probably looking over your shoulder.
Exactly. I think just from top down, just more maturity really is, you have guys here, this is their job. Majority of people have a wife and kids. The coaches are talking to grown men now with families. So there's not that, slighting and yeah, I mean, it's just a mutual respect thing. And just one thing I did notice though, is at practice, like that was different from college, and you can attest to this, Keelan.
If I had $1 for every time that somebody mixed up Keeler and I's names, I wouldn't be doing this. I'll tell you that.
They're too similar. They're too similar. Same amount of syllables, everything. But is when basics coming across the middle, quarterback throws it, wide receiver, it's right there and he drops it. College, what are they doing? Hey, copy the play, do it again, and and that's like he'll catch it in the game next play.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like that. Like maturity that I really appreciate, actually.
Have you been like have you had like a shock factor, like holy shit, like there's Lamar Jackson, or like have you been around like anybody super cool? I mean what's Lamar Jackson like? I mean, come on, it's I mean,
the people want to know.
I mean, is he as cool as we think?
Yeah, I mean, he's an awesome competitor, and I mean, just talented beyond belief. Like he'll be out of practice, and just even in practice, the things he does with what seems like such little effort. That I mean, I'm not him. I don't know, but seems like just such little effort. He does incredible things, and I'm like, wow, this is truly a generational player, and it's just awesome
Like
to be
he's
around
just
him.
so fun to play with on Madden. Like I just wish that I could like actually watch him. Like I'll literally just get on practice mode when I'm just like bored and just run around. And it's just I don't know.
It
kind of looks like he does that in real life too. I mean, that boy's got moves.
Yeah, he's like I said, just the most talented football player. I mean, that's what he was this year. He was the whatever the award was.
MVP, wasn't he?
Yeah, the most valuable player, and I think that's true. I mean, the stuff he brings to the table is crazy.
What's y'all's record right now?
We're 5-2.
Dude, if the freaking if what happens, I mean, I'm not trying to give any bad blood, but I mean, what happened last year with the Titans, we can't have that. That can't happen again. The Titans. I don't know if you read my tweets about the Titans, but I just think that all Titans fans aren't real. Sorry to the Titans fans, but I just remember being so happy that the Titans were having to play the Ravens, and then obviously you didn't have anything to do with that. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year. But the Titans are just.
So you're not a big Titans guy.
I just wasn't raised a Titans fan, and I just don't think that anybody truly, no matter how big of a Titans fan they say they are, I don't think that there's actually a Titans fan. Like, wasn't Ethan with the Titans for a little bit?
Yeah, that was his first team he went through camp with.
Well, he probably hated it, but I don't know. I don't know. Tanner, feed him something. Feed him something good. Throw him a lob.
All right. So Eli, at what point, like of your college career, like when you got there, obviously you were just trying to kind of get in the rotation, I would assume. But at what point did the NFL kind of become like a real thought, or was that always kind of the goal? Like, were you kind of taking it a day at a time and just trying to get in the rotation and get good reps, or were you kind of thinking NFL?
That's a really good question.
That is a good question. A day at a time. I'm still living a day at a time. Like I said, like walking on with Clay, you go there and you're just like, first off, blown away by the facilities at first. I came from a really small town in Ohio, blown away by the facilities. Then I see, guys I've been watching on TV because I watched my brother the whole season for. All these guys I'm watching on TV, very nervous, just want to come in, want everybody to like me, want the coaches to like me, just all this pressure I'm putting on myself that literally nobody's putting on me. And I was just, wanted to do the right thing. So as time went, having my brother there to really tell me, hey, like, you need to do this more, you need to do this less. And then it got to the point where after that first year, he said, listen, I'm not messing with you. You can really play. You just need to get a little bit bigger. You need to get a little bit stronger. So I just listened to what he said. I was like, wow, I can really play if I do what he's telling me to do. So then that became the focus. And I wouldn't say until really the decision to transfer where I was like, I want to play in the NFL, and I think I can if I get the opportunity.
I definitely think that there was nobody in our class our freshman year that was thinking anything about the NFL. We weren't thinking about anything other than, I don't know, what we were doing after the developmental on Friday. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
dude, we were thinking, all right, once we get away from Lawson for 2 hours on that Friday development early, how long can I stay at Uptown? And can I sneak into Cool Beans?
Yeah.
That's all our mind was on, dude.
And then you got to be up for that vol walk.
Yeah.
I don't know if Thomas and I ever got into this, Tanner, but Tanner, it's so weird. The walk-ons, the scholarship guys go to the hotel. So the walk-ons have this like developmental lift. It's called our game day. Like, it's like we go on Fridays and lift for like 6 hours in the weight room, and it's terrible, and they make us run because people are late, and it's a shit show. And like the guys with like no personality, like the guys like Eli, it was easy to notice Eli because he was always like lifting heavier or like running with the faster guys. It was easy to notice me because I was just a jackass and just let that be my mantra the whole time. So if I wasn't there, people would be like, where the fuck is Keaton? And then there was people would just leave, and like, I mean, not to call those guys, but they would just leave, and no one would even notice that they were like, you know what I'm saying? And they would just leave, and that would make me. I was like, I could never leave. If I left, Mitch would 100% know that I wasn't there.
Yeah, because there's this 6'7" huge kid that's just no longer in the
that really needs.
Yeah, there's this 6'7" kid that can't. Yeah, where's the big kid that can't bend? Yeah, but yeah, no. And so anyways, so the walk-ons, they don't get to stay at the hotel. So we would have to I guess we would walk from Vall Hall to the complex.
We would.
Or no, it was a fight for those parking passes.
Yeah, it was a fight for the parking passes. And then I know one day specifically, me, Will, and Zach were all hungover as crap on Saturday morning. And we would walk out and we were going to walk to the facility from Vall Hall. And you remember those joyride things, the golf carts? Guy recognizes hey, he's like, oh, you guys play, right? And we're like, yeah. He's like, hop in. And he drove us all the way through the crowd. Like all the fans are already tailgating and shit. And we're in
That's kind of sick.
And we're in full suits. So he's like whipping it through there and drops us off over there. And I mean, that's what we did. We just every day we were just hungover and would walk to the facility.
I bet that guy thought he was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, we probably thought we were so cool. I mean, I still think that was so cool. So it worked out for both of us.
That was cool. I'm telling you, man. I think about that freshman year, and I remember going down in y'all's room and watching those sad movies, and everybody would be crying and shit, and it was just.
Wait, sad movies? What you talking about?
I just remember one time I had the bright idea to watch a movie in y'all's room, and we watched The Fault in Our Stars or something, and I was literally. Do you not remember that? I
don't remember it. That doesn't sound like something we would do, but now that you mention it, we did a lot.
I'm telling you, if a Rodre or Will or any of them listen to this, hopefully they will since you're on here. I think that they'll remember that because I remember being down there. Khalil was definitely down there. Mike was probably down there. We watched The Fault in Our Stars and I cried. I don't know about y'all, but I cried.
Dude, I do remember we stole a ton of couches from the lobby, so we had 4 couches in our room.
Yeah, you guys had the setup. That's where we would play NCAA down there, and those games were fun as shit too. That was some of the funnest things that we did, really.
That year was awesome. And for away games, we didn't have to go. And that was the year that we were playing at Alabama, and we were taking them down to the wire. Ooh, man,
dude, that was fun. Do you remember when we went up to that lake house and watched us blow it against Florida? But there was a ton of us up there at that chick's lake house, and yeah, that I think about that a lot. That year was so funny, just all around funny. Everything that happened was just funny.
So Eli, I was doing a little bit of background on you. I couldn't help but notice. I found the video of you running because the pro days got canceled. I saw you running the 40, and you ran a 4.43. And it was hand timed. It wasn't a 4.43, right? We can.
No, we it. The video is there. So I basically what I was saying. Hey, everybody, go. Sending out the GMs. Everybody, go time this with your own watch. And then the time that we had live when I ran it, which was a hand time, said 4.43. All on the practice before that, it was in the 4.5s, low 4.5s. So. I was like, you know what? People typically add a 10th anyway because they're not going to believe it. I was like, just leave it, and then that'll be about around where it really is anyway. So I'm not a total big believer in the 40 anyway. So I was like, whatever, just put down what you have and let's roll with it.
Well, I watched the video and you were moving, but it seemed like with this the COVID off season, it seemed like everyone's 40 times all of a sudden were a little faster than they looked on tape. I think of, you see all these times coming out, and I remember it seemed like everyone was faster than they've ever been.
Sure, yeah, and that's exactly what all the GMs and coaches, they're like, all right, well, let's take this with a grain of salt. And I was a little bummed not to actually have a pro day. You train so long for it that you want to go have it. So I actually went all the way down to Georgia, and we get there, and this was right when the COVID was new and nobody really knew what it was. Quarantine hadn't been a thing yet. This is literally that's 5 days where
the gray area.
The gray area there. So I get there and all the coaches are gone. There's nobody at the facility. Coach Smart was quarantined in I think Costa Rica or something like that. And I'm like, are we going to have this thing? And they're like, no, go home. And I'm like, go home. I spent 4 months training for this. I don't want to turn around and go home, but I mean, that's what we had to do.
Might as well put something on film while you're there.
Yeah. So we got a couple guys together and we filmed some stuff and did the workout. Just, so all that training didn't go for nothing because not all that stuff is functional football stuff that you would just need anyway. So I was like, well, let's get some on the video.
Oh, trust me, you were blazing. I mean, I do not mean disrespect. It was a fast 40 if I've ever seen one. One more question before you go though. What has it been like in the NFL like obviously it's your first year, so you don't really have anything to compare it to, but with all the COVID and all the procedures and, kind of all the moving around of schedules, like how are you guys staying kind of sharp and on top of it?
The protocols that they have on us right now are just not like trapping, us into our homes, but basically just saying, hey, come into the facility, you're going to get tested every day. We just got placed under a more extensive protocol because a player tested positive, but you're going to get tested every single day. Really, you go to the facility so early in the morning that the only place to really go is back to your home. So it's not that you can't go anywhere, but it's just there's really no time to do any of that. So it's been keeping everybody safe, and when you're there, you can do all the football stuff you need. Just got to wear masks in meetings, and it's worked out good for us so far.
So it's kind of like a home and facility bubble almost, where you just kind of try to stay out of extra places as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that you can't. It's just that they're trusting the players to do what's right, because if enough players test positive, the game has to get canceled, and whatever team causes the cancellation forfeits the loss, and then neither teams get paid for that week. So there's a lot at stake if you get caught and then test positive and start a chain of things that will like keep you in going just to the facility and just home. Yeah. It's there's no rules against it, but there's enough at stake that you're like, well, I'm just going to do this to be smart.
Yeah, it's going to hurt a lot more people than just the people that get the COVID. It's
100%.
On the line. I'm sure people are holding each other accountable for that.
I got one last question. One last question as the clock ticks. Eli, I've got a theory. And it's a theory that Kirby Smart is an asshole. That he's really hurt Jamie Newman's future, bringing in JT Daniels. Now Bennett's the quarterback. The Georgia quarterback situation. Talk on that, Eli. I mean, what's Kirby really like?
So I can only speak on my experience with Coach Smart.
That's all we're looking for.
But yeah, I know that a Vol fan like Clay's is probably way different, but I came in at a way different situation than the majority of the players that were under him. I came in as a fifth-year graduate transfer, and just like I handled it very maturely. I didn't look at it as, hey, what team can recruit me out of this, transfer portal. It was more like, hey, I'm doing a business trip and I'm going to take a few trips that I want to do, and I just want to talk ball. I don't want the high school recruiting experience. I want to talk ball. This is a business decision. So I think from the start, when I kind of took that approach, he took that approach with me too. He said, okay, I don't need to be dog cussing Eli at practice. If I tell him, he's going to get it done. This is a mature kid. So that's what I saw, a very mutual respect. And, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do. You get the job done. And so I think I liked my experience with it. I think he ran the program in a good way. So a lot of people disagree, but that's my opinion.
All right.
Well, that's good to hear.
Well, Eli, sorry to cut you off, man. As it's telling us we don't have a lot of time left. But thanks.
Thanks for coming on, Eli. Seriously,
it's great talking to you. We'd love to have you on again.
It's kind of like a 20 questions session, and I still think Kirby Smart's an asshole. I don't really care what you say, Eli. But it's nice to know that your player experience was a little bit better than what I would thought it would have been. So that's nice. Good for you. I'm happy.
Eli, it's been great talking to you, man. Good luck with your rehab on your hamstring. Hopefully, we'll see you on the field here soon.
Beat those Titans, man. Don't let those Titans get by you guys this year.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Take care, brother.
Week 7 of the SEC coming up. It's a big weekend for Tennessee and the Gamecocks. Maybe the Gamecocks can snap the Texas A&M losing streak. I doubt it, especially since I'm betting on the Aggies. Big thanks to Eli for joining us. That was a lot of fun. A lot of good questions that were answered there by Eli. That was really informational.
Yeah, hopefully we can make him a recurring guest of sorts. He can be our inside man. Hopefully we'll see him on the field here soon.
Hopefully so. Tanner, have a good one, brother.
You too, man. Week 7. Let's lock in.
We're almost over the hump. We're getting close to the end. So
everything's kind of falling into place right now. We're gonna really see who's got it, see who doesn't. As far as the Gamecocks go, I don't think we're gonna win this game.
Well, good luck to you anyway.
That's all right. We'll always have next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.